Brown 45. Brown 45. Hot, 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 hot.
Welcome to an exclusive interview, Week 15, with two playoff managers and one losing bracket manager. John, how are you doing?
Disappointed, frustrated, but at this point, I'm kind of numb. I mean, what can I say? 2 years in a row, just absolute heartbreaking finishes to the season.
Yep.
Last year was, kind of a Cinderella story that ended just a little bit short. The clock struck midnight before I got to the finish line. This year, I, in my humble opinion, was a bit of a Florida State situation. I was robbed.
You were robbed.
Flat out, I was robbed. I didn't go undefeated, but I was robbed.
You were. I mean, I'll start right there. Last year, 6-9, and 1 win away. This year, 8-6 and 30 points away. I mean, is the Florida man encouraged? Are you discouraged? Are you heading in the right direction? Where are you at?
I mean, obviously we're trending in the right direction, but let me just look at this matchup, from last week. My win to get in kind of game.
Yep, that's all it was.
CJ Stroud, phenom, absolute phenom off the waivers that had just been delivering consistently for me.
Yep.
3.64 went out injured.
Not
Very
fair.
soon. What do you want from me there? Cooper Kupp woke up, remembered that he was a Pro Bowl player and got 25.5, Congrats. Thanks for doing double-digit points for the first time in like 8 weeks, you bum.
He tried to
Family-friendly show, so I'll leave it at that.
That's
It just too little too late. And to add insult to injury, JD, who I'm playing, a guy who had no hope at this point for the playoffs.
great
Justin
guy.
Herbert went out and only got him less than 2 points, and I still lost.
I'm aware.
I'm like I said, I'm numb. I'm numb to it. And I can get into the unfairness of it all. I mean,
we'll get there. Hey, let the chain ask a question. We will certainly get there.
Yeah, John, you mentioned the Week 14 loss to the Waddle House, of course, sealing you off from the playoffs. Lost to him in Week 11 as well. Looking at your other 4 losses on the season, you had Week 1 to the Goobers, Week 2 to Kirkland Signature, Week 4 to the Chief, who you're playing again this week, and Week 8 to Gabe. In Gabe We Trust at the time, LA Ligma FC. Looking back, is there one of those that was the one that got away that you think you really regret getting the L on the stat sheet?
Oh, I mean, the loss to Logan was just an absolute fumble. That's that one, again, I can argue that I was robbed, but at the end of the day, I guess I just didn't win enough games. But, I love you, Logan. Great guy, but what is he, 3-11, I think?
Yep.
And he happened to 1 week put up 138. I put up a pretty respectable 125. My stars did not play like stars for too long.
No, they did not.
Too long of the season did my stars just play like, waiver wire guys.
Not to pour salt in the wound. Your closest loss was to the Chief in Week 4, losing by less than a point, 0.92 differential. That being said, you played a perfect game. You had 31 points on your bench, none of which would have helped you. So it really was an unfortunate season in a couple of those moments, like you mentioned. But, Ball, I'm sure you've got something you want to dig in on here.
Yeah, you brought up the Waddle House. I do. You brought up the Waddle House. Why can't you beat the Waddle House? It's not like he's putting up world-beating numbers. You play the Waddle House, he's going to put up 105 points or 108. That's all he's putting up. You just got to beat that.
He's my new rival, I guess.
Is there a mental block there? What is it? What is it going to take for you to beat that team?
What I will give the chain, he did call it. He said I'd lose both to the Waddle House to close the season out. So at the time, I was a little frustrated at that prediction, but clearly it was right. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because we share the same name. I've let him get the better of me. I guess there can only be one John, and so far he's got the better half of me right now. So,
John, on a more positive note, what was your proudest moment this season?
My proudest moment. I think I kind of touched on it a little bit. I think it'd be a few of my waiver wire pickups. I think I was really kind of a waiver wire warrior this season because when my main guys weren't performing or they were injured, I mean, I had some good ones. I'd say my best one was C.J. Stroud. I mean, the kid's playing like an MVP, and I picked him up. Gus Bus did pretty darn well for a few weeks, and then dropped off. But Trey McBride, like I said, Trey McBride was another solid one that really came in clutch for me a couple of weeks towards the end of the season. Yep. So I think I pride myself in seeing value where others don't on that waiver wire, and hopefully I'll continue that next season. And also just, I don't know, draft better. I don't know how. I don't think drafting Cooper Kupp was the wrong decision. I'd do it again. I mean, I can't predict a guy like that playing the way he did.
I mean, you put yourself in the ring for Coach of the Year last year. Are you doing the same this year? You said you were the Coach of the Year.
No, I'll be honest. Like I said, I think great at waiver wire stuff, but every once in a while, there was small margin losses where I couldn't have done anything. The Chief, obviously, as you said, Cooper, I did everything I could there and just came up just short enough. But I think I let the Cinderella story get to my head a little bit last year, and this year I think it's going to focus on being a little more humble. I think there's plenty of room for improvement going into next season. And again, not only for just managing my own team, but as a league contributor, I will get the Wheel of Pain for next season. That'll be a good one. I think that'll be fun. Stay tuned for more details on that, I guess.
Just real quick, speaking of the Chief, he thinks he's got your number this week.
Oh, of course he does. Like I said, I need to not lose focus because although I am the highest seed in the consolation bracket, not that matters for anything. If I fall asleep at the wheel here, I could be staring down the barrel of a beer mile, and I don't want to do that.
John, we've talked about the matchup with the Chiefs this week. Currently on a 2-game win streak for Caden. Both of you are 3-2 over the last 5 games. That being said, he's averaging 123. You're averaging just beneath at 119. What's going to be the difference maker this week?
Well, like I said, I mean, if I can find a quarterback off waivers that it just puts up even a pedestrian stat line, I'll take 15 points from one of these guys. And then Cooper Kupp continuing to actually realize that he's a Pro Bowl caliber wide receiver. So I'd like for him to do that again this week. Kyren Williams has been popping off, so really just need a big game from the Rams offense. I'll put out the best team I can and hope for the best.
Mm-hmm. John, throughout the course of the year, any teams that you just dislike playing or maybe you dislike the manager, you have for you, heated rivalries?
I want to say JD's my new rival, but I can't hate the guy. I mean, it's not like he's not like he curb stomps me each time. He beats me by a handful of points. I mean, I do harbor some hatred for you, Brian.
Why is that?
Why is that? I mean, first of all, I mean, if we look at the divisions, it's ridiculous. The East is just compared to the West is insane. I mean, I tied for the second.
You're saying the East is better?
Yes.
Your division is better than the division that had 4 teams all vying for the number 1 seed in the last week of the regular season.
But that's the thing. I mean, your side of the division started out really hot, and then you had teams like the Silly Willies, who we all thought were world killers, that ended up with 6 losses. It's I don't know. I'm tied for second place. That's the thing. And we'll get to the meat and potatoes here. I'm tied for second place in the East. Tied with who? You might ask. Brian Flowers. Oh, wait. Did we play each other? Yeah, that's right. We did play each other. And I stomped on him. I crushed his soul. It wasn't even fair. So why in the head-to-head matchup in a tiebreaker, what are we doing here?
Just as you did last year, might I say. I mean, what can you say?
I complained now, and it was too little too late. I didn't look at the rules at the beginning of the season and vie for change. So I'll campaign in the postseason and the offseason to our, corrupt manager and see if we can get a vote at least on that rule. But that's a fight for let's focus on not running a beer mile, and then that's a fight I'll fight.
I agree.
But I would like to speak a little bit more to the manager that I hate because I don't know. I had something happen this week that's got me a little concerned about some voodoo magic that Brian Flowers might have. So we spoke briefly Wednesday evening about me coming on the show, and as I explained, I was like, hey, Friday would work better for me, and I guess that might have irked Brian Flowers, and he went into his box of black magic, because later that night I was up the entire night with food poisoning that night after not agreeing to come on the show when Brian wanted me to come on the show. So I don't know what you did, but please don't do it again, because Wednesday night was not fun.
Listen, things get strange around playoff time, and
it's the witching hour.
You need more than the 9 guys on the field to go out there and get a win. So
I don't know what happened, man. I got an ESPN notification at 2 a.m. and then 15 minutes later, I was fighting for my life on the porcelain throne. So
that's what it is.
Yeah, John. One final 2-part question for you. Looking back on the entire regular season, as Brian mentioned, there's some redeeming qualities that are going from 6-9 last year to 8-6 this year. Who are you crowning as your regular season MVP, and who is your team's biggest boof on the year?
Oh, on my roster?
Big boof for both.
Oh, man. The boof is easy. I mean, Cooper Kupp. Yep. I mean, he put up two really solid performances, but for my first overall pick, a guy that won the Triple Crown in recent history, just an absolute stud. I'm speechless when he's putting up less than 8 points almost every week. And I took a risk on him because he didn't play the first several weeks of the season. So I don't know. If depending on where I'm at in the draft order next year, if he's an option again, I mean, logically you should take him because you can't predict injuries and you can't predict him just being an absolute boofer like he was this year. But
you can't.
My boom, I'd say my boom is either C.J. Stroud off the waiver wire. The dude just came out of nowhere, playing amazing as a rookie, or when he wasn't hurt, Kyren Williams.
Kyren
Williams is definitely a dog. I mean, dude came back and dropped almost 40 points for me. Like,
just took it from Jimmy.
Just a great guy. Great guy.
John, final words for America, words for Caden this week in the first round of the losers bracket.
I think I spent my trash talk last year and for the most of this year. So I respect him. He's had some unfortunate roster happenings this year. Happens to the best of us. He's a worthy opponent. And I look forward to hopefully a close matchup. Like I hope it's a close one. Obviously, I hope I come out on top, but may the best man win.
John, message for the league next year.
Hey, 6-9 to 8-6. Watch out. I'm coming up. I'm getting better every year, and I think I really, not that we all didn't, but I think I really had some tough boofs and injuries this year. So looking forward to a good draft next year, and I will be dishing out the pain with the wheel. So I look forward to maybe seeing a couple people with some cans of soup next year. And the final message is, go blue, baby. Beat Bama.
Go blue, of course.
Go blue.
Jonathan, always a pleasure.